Welcome back to the Crypto Ski conversation. In today's video, I just wanted to touch on, Chairman Gensler and the SEC and their role when it comes to the crypto space and how they're trying to, overregulate by enforcement and truly hinder the innovation and adoption and growth within this space. Because there's just been a lot of stuff that's been coming up in the SEC versus library case, SEC versus Ripple case, and obviously we got a lot of other parties going after Chairman Gensler, William Hinman, Jay Clayton, and the SEC for their wrongdoings. But quickly looking at CoinGecko here, we're currently sitting at a $1.29 trillion market cap, currently down 3.4%. As you can see, we're seeing a lot of red for the day. I don't even know if there's any gainers. Chain at 7.7, Osmosis, Monero, little small gainers. And if we come over here to the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, we're currently sitting at 13, which that's where we were yesterday. So we're getting an update in 22 hours and 8 minutes. So obviously there's still a lot of fear and uncertainty within the markets. Just jumping into the content straight up, I wanted to cover some of Johnny Deaton's tweets here, kind of talking about the topic of the SEC. So he goes, he's referring to XRP Crypto World's tweet here where he goes, SEC can't confirm if a video of Bill Hinman is actually Bill Hinman. So just talking about the Bill Hinman Ethereum Free Pass speech that was given in, I think it was June, or in 2018, which pretty much said Bitcoin and Ethereum aren't securities, but they didn't classify anything else. So Johnny Deaton says, think about the SEC. It claims BTC and ETH are so vague and ambiguous as to prevent the SEC from distinguishing them from other digital assets. The SEC is also unable to admit whether a video of Hinman is in fact Hinman, which is absolutely crazy. We have the timeline, we have the video, we have the audio. It's crazy. Continuing on here, he's referring to Stefan Huber's tweet here. Stefan Huber says, the SEC claims that the term Bitcoin and Ether are too vague and ambiguous to know which digital assets are meant by them and whether they were on their internal watch list. Can't make this up. You just can't make this up. And he quotes Congressman Tom Emmer. The SEC claims not knowing what BTC and ETH are, so he has his document in here. You can kind of pause this and read through it. But Johnny Deaton says, it all makes sense now. The reason Gary Gensler and the SEC hasn't approved a spot Bitcoin ETFs is because Bitcoin is so vague and ambiguous, SEC can't distinguish it from other digital assets. So moving on here, Stefan Huber has another one. He goes, watch this. That's the only thing Gary cares about. His bank executive friends who whine about customers pulling their money out and investing in decentralized finance. It's not the investors' desire to be protected by Gary. It's the bank's desire to have Gary protecting them. So just shedding more light on just kind of the craziness that the SEC is portraying, led by Chairman Gensler, when they're so-called set out to protect us, investors. Johnny Deaton says, this really does sum it up. Gary Gensler's problem with crypto, and it is in his own words, I can vision him listening to Jamie Dimons of the world, shaking his head and discussing, thinking, quote, we have to stop people from taking money out of the banks. I mean, it's no secret. I mean, if you've been following this channel and following, the Ripple versus SC case and what's going on with the XRP community and the timeline that we have been, compiling together, all this stuff is quite evident. I wanted to pull this up from Stuart Alderati. He's referring to John P. Collins' snapshot here. Says this seems like a pretty consequential decision. So reading through this, Stuart Alderati, who's Ripple's general counsel, he says SC in-house trials declared unconstitutional. Get this, SC argued that jury trials are too slow, but then turned around and put the defendant through their private grist mill for 7 years. The hypocrisy is staggering. XRP Crypto says SEC does whatever suits them best in court. The agency is speeding up the library case because they are winning. SEC is delaying XRP lawsuits since they are losing. Crazy. Speaking of library has a tweet here responding to James K. Fallon's tweet just on May 19th, where he says, in a text-only order, the judge in the SEC versus library case has granted the SEC's motion to exceed the page limit and deny library's motion to strike. The order is below and it's not clear yet how or if this will impact the trial schedule. So apparently there was like a certain amount of pages that certain information could be placed on the document, but apparently the judge had allowed the SEC to proceed with the documents that they provided, knowing that it was beyond the page limits, which is absolutely crazy. Library says, complete BS. Not sure why we're having a trial when the SEC doesn't even have to follow the rules of the court. Johnny Deaton says, there are two sets of rules, one for the government and one for the defense. It's one more reason government prosecutors are so arrogant. Moving on here, Digital Asset Investor had put up this video with Chairman Gensler. He said he writes, it says, quote, let's bring it back to Jamie and JP Morgan. What do you think is going to be the thing that will have to change the most or lose market share, and somebody else is going to do better, faster, serve their clients better than JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs? So let's listen into this video.
Right now, the investing public in all communities are not well protected. In terms of what this committee can do is help us get, again, we're not trying to grow really significantly, but resources to grow at least 6% and grow our enforcement arm in this space. These exchanges are trading against their customers. They literally are making markets versus their customers. They're holding the what's called the private key. If they lose them or there's hacks, guess what? The public will just have to get in line like they're in bankruptcy court.
So moving on here, JV had put up this tweet here. He's crediting Fame 21 Moore's YouTube video, and he says, quote, "Clarity will come from Congress or an industry that supersedes the SEC." So this is Congressman Tom Emmer on May 19, 2022. So let's take a listen into this.
Fast forward to this past December, we had Republicans and Democrats both complaining about Gary Gensler at the SEC. And I mean, you can see what's happening. Yeah. So as this grows on the Democrat side, and I'm happy to call out names and give them compliments, but that will that should mute the ignorant comments of another member that just refuses to learn this stuff. Let's forget the substance of it for a second. But when President Biden issued that executive order for the working group to start coordinating all the different agencies, thank God. It's about time. Now the details, not as big a fan, but we don't have to agree on everything, right? The concept of getting all of these agencies to actually start talking about how they might function together is a good thing. I also love, and forgive me, this is a little chip on my shoulder, maybe as an old hockey player taking a shot as I go by, but Gary Gensler was excluded, as you might recall, in the order. They did not give him any job at all. Unfortunately, he's shown he doesn't care. He's just moving forward without any concept of working together with the administration. I don't know if you noticed, he just doubled the size of his cyber unit, and he's going to use them. I think he added 20, so almost doubled it. He's up to 50 in 4.
Long story short, clearly no one's liking, Chairman Gensler at the SEC, and they don't like the SEC's action and how they're, operating and doing things in regards of enforcement, regulation by enforcement. And I just wanted to put this up because, Senator Warren went hard at Jay Clayton when he was in his term in the SEC. But where has she been in regards of, dealing with these conflicts of interest that have been presented by the community? And it's quite evident that there's been a lot of conflicts of interest with the, Ethereum free pass speech and the, the ETHgate stuff, all the deals behind closed doors. But, where is she at? She's over here pressing, another gentleman. But why aren't you pressing the SEC and Jay Clayton and William Hemon and Gary Gensler and all the parties that are involved there? Crazy stuff that we're dealing with, man. But I just wanted to make this one as sweet and short as possible. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe to the Crypto is Key YouTube channel. Make sure you follow us on Crypto is Key 1 on Twitter, so you can kind of keep up to date on some of the topics that we're going to be covering. But with all that being said, stay strong out there. Be safe.